Hey everybody, it's CJ Graham, Jason Voorhees. That's right, Friday the 13th, Part 6. And you're listening to thescenesnobs.com.
Have you and your furry best friend ever been bored? We have a cure for that. Get your subscription box with our affiliate link now.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to our very special episode of Geek Fest Live. This is where we're doing a recap of portions of my Halloween horror movie countdown. So if you love horror movies, be sure to set in. This is numbers 49 through 32. Of course, if you're missing out, you can watch any of the daily videos. They're on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, wherever you want to go. They're on the channel. But we also did recaps for those as well, 95 through 75 and 74 through 50. But this is 49 through 32. So we're going to get started. We're going to have a good time with it.
I love that the graphics have progressed so well. You're doing so fantastic, man.
You know, it's honestly, it is a, you know this as well as I do. I'm just saying it. I'm saying it more for anybody who's watching who's going to like start a podcast one day or like sees graphics and they freak out or whatever. It's like it's trial and error. So like the first one, when we were doing the recap, I didn't know if it was going to work. So I was just like, all right, whatever. I'll just make a quick thing. And it was like that day we were doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the second one, a little more preparation. It was a couple of days before. And then today, you know, we knew we were doing it like a few days in advance. So like I went, I put it together and I was like, all right, I'm going to make graphics for every movie, stuff like that. Really get into it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I love horror movies and I love talking to my buddy about them.
Exactly. I love talking to you about them, bro. And plus, we're counting down. We're getting to your top 30.
I know. Well, I'm already in. So like today was number 30.
Awesome.
And I of course do the daily videos. So they're out. So anybody who watches daily videos knows what 31 and 30 are. But we'll do that. Either we're going to split it up in the middle and do like 31 through 15.
Mm-hmm.
Or we may do just the 31 days special at the end.
I was thinking about that too. Or maybe we just get down and do a top 10 special. Or we get really more in depth with your top 10.
I like it. Okay. So you're thinking maybe do something like a 31 through 20. Or 31 through 11.
Exactly. Yep.
Sweet. All right. I dig it. And we got a few people here joining in. We love you guys. Jason Taylor.
Jason, what's up, my friend?
He says, good evening, my buds. Good evening to you, sir. Good evening to all the snobs. Chris, what's up, buddy?
Good evening, Mr. Harris.
And Jason, who's also a big horror fan, is kind of in for it.
Oh, yeah. Our Tales from the Crypt bro.
So to kind of give you a little bit of what it was, so we're starting at 49 today because we ended at 50 in the last recap. But the last 5, I'm going to do a quick rundown. We're not going to show anything, but so at 55, it was Alien. 54 was Aliens. 53 was The Wraith. 52 was April Fool's Day. 51 was Friday the 13th, Part 2. And 50 was Friday the 13th.
Boom.
So now, Casey, I know you watch the daily videos, but I mean, it was
a good chunk of them. Yes.
It was like 19 days ago. So I'm not going to hold against you if you don't remember. What do you think the original Friday the 13th led into?
Well, it'd be curious on what your link was, because you were getting tight on your links there. You were finding some good linkage towards the end of that run.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say it was a Kevin Bacon link.
It was not, but that's a good guess. That's
right.
a good guess.
Not
there was a
Whitewater
Kevin
Summer?
Bacon. There's a Kevin Bacon link in this list.
I believe there is.
I made sure because there's actually a few, because there's 3 different Kevin Bacon movies on this list.
And fingers crossed, I'm hoping it's Stir of Echoes. I don't know for sure.
It was not, but that doesn't mean it can't show up on the list. I do like that movie.
It's a great movie.
No, the ones that showed up were They, Them,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
the new one. Tremors was on the list.
That's right. You did do Tremors.
And Friday the 13th.
Yep. Boom. 3 of them.
Chicken's here. What's going on, Chicken?
What's up, the chicken?
Are you giving me a new password? I love it. Chicken, you're always the man. Thanks for showing up, buddy. Who wants to take a guess before we get to number 49? If you've seen it, you can guess as well. Just means you'll get it right.
Anyone comment
take a guess.
along?
My connection to the Friday the 13th was a slasher connection.
Oh, okay. So you went light.
Chris asked if it was the remake. No, but that comes up on it.
Okay.
So,
was it Jason 10? Or are you done with the Jason slasher?
Walked away from Jason, and I decided to touch down on another franchise. And I'm gonna do the do 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 do. All right, I'm gonna let it be known that it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre at 49.
All right,
that's right. And Casey's favorite horror movie is The Notebook.
That's the one that just makes me cry every time.
It's a horror movie.
Well, not as much as One Last Thing. That's still the ultimate tearjerker because it forces them out of you uncomfortably.
Well, the funny thing is, Matt, and I know you know Casey well, and you're not wrong there, but I think Casey knows what's up when it comes to horror because there was a director on this list of The Notebook. He was in a movie on this list.
Ooh, fancy.
That was The Wraith. He played the bad guy in The Wraith. And
Nick Castle?
Yeah. Chris says that's right. Yeah, it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre at number 49. I revisited this. I've seen this movie about 4 or 5 times in my life. I am not the biggest fan of this one. I respect it. I think it holds a special place in the horror world. Leatherface deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore. I know everybody gives wide consideration of Michael Myers and Halloween being the thing that created the slasher genre. I disagree.
Okay.
I think this and Bloody Christmas and even Psycho helped create that genre. Halloween, Michael Myers helped the boom.
Okay. It didn't reinvent the wheel. The wheel already existed, but it showed you how to put all 4 of them together on a car and make car go.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, if anything, I would say Carpenter perfected that.
I'll agree with that. But Toby Hooper absolutely created it, and I will not fight the strength and power of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and how great it is. Because although not big fan of the original, like as far as from a movie perspective, I definitely enjoyed all the things that sprung from it and all the other movies, all the other versions of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre that came out. So what was your connection into 48?
40. That's a good question. 48 was, of course, if I'm watching the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I'm watching my favorite in the franchise, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2.
Of course you are.
I love the campy comedy aspect they've added to it. It fits this crazy Texas family that eat people. And it was 10 or I think it was 9 or 10 years later this movie came out, because first one came out in 74 and this one came out, and I think it might have been actually 86, 85
somewhere
or 86.
around there. I remember it felt very much so from the filming style of House, which you might recognize, one of my favorites. So I did enjoy this one a lot.
Well, it's definitely came out no earlier than 85, because they're doing the Breakfast Club pose on the poster, which is famous.
Exactly.
So this is my favorite. I love the chainsaw battle. Dennis Hopper is crazy in it. It's fantastic. So I knew if I'm doing a list from 95 movies, I'm adding my favorite. If I'm watching this franchise and I'm trying to revisit some things, I'm watching this one for sure.
You got to treat yourself on this. If you're slugging through this many movies in this list every day, you got to hit some positives.
Yeah. And actually, I will say it's kind of funny, because if you go back and going back to 49 real quick, the opening scroll, the actor that's doing the voice for that is John Larroquette.
Oh, dang, that's right.
He was friends with Toby Hooper, and he came in, and Toby Hooper said he wanted like Orson Welles type of voice. and John Larroquette read it in his best Orson Welles impersonation. Yeah, they did that. And then what I thought was funny is people found that out from Joe Bob.
Oh, wow.
Who was in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2.
Boom.
And because he became friends with everybody because he's a driving guy, and his part got cut. But you can go online and you can find his deleted scene.
I love it. It's a stretch, but it works.
So I connected it even farther. I went down and I wanted to revisit the 2022 Texas Chainsaw Massacre 47.
Nice.
Yeah, I really wanted to get back into it because first time I watched it, I was like, the kills are cool. It looks great. A lot of gore effects, very cool on that. I liked practical stuff they were doing. But I didn't love the story, the connection to the original. It wipes out everything else and just connects to the first one. The story kind of took me out of it. Now, I got to tell you, the second time watching it, I loosened my reins a little bit. I guess my defensiveness of the connection, and having watched the first one only a couple of nights before,
right?
I found myself enjoying it. I think a little bit more. You know,
that's fair. I thought it was good out the gate. I didn't really have a problem with it, but I'm not married to everything with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre ethos. So no. I really see a lot of that being able to be open and be played with, and you can do a lot with it.
You're not married to that, Casey. You're married to me.
Oh, am I? I'm beholden to you. That's different. It's contractual. I guess marriage, yeah.
And by contractual, he means that I've put a hex on him.
Yeah, that's totally fair. It was all Hocus Pocus-y style. There was a lot of singing. It was weird.
Well, I watched a reboot remake movie, and I was like, you know what? I need to go down this this rabbit hole.
Oh, you reboot rabbit hole?
And I wanted to do the popular movies that were rebooted. Remember, like 10 or 11 years ago or something, they were just remaking everything. So I went with the first Friday the 13th at 46.
Awesome. I totally don't disagree with where you're going with that. It's funny that you brought it back as quick as you did, but I enjoy it. All right. So what was your overall take on this after rebooting and rebooting?
Well, before that, I just want to get to Chris Harris. Chris Harris says Halloween made it more mainstream. I remember you talking about when we were discussing. I do agree. And it was only because of that independent film burst. It was the highest grossing independent film in the time. Only beaten by what movie?
Ooh.
What took the title of highest grossing independent film of all time?
Clerks.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
There's no way that was an independent film.
Yeah, it was.
What?
New Line was an independent studio.
Oh, wow. But they had Feldman. And rubber turtle suits. How expensive? How did they pay for those rubber turtle suits?
It's the house that Freddie built. Freddie was bringing in tons of money.
Yeah, fair.
So, good for them. Fair point. Story-wise, yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre has never been one of my go-to franchises, Paul says. Paul, what's up, buddy? And then Matt Wright says, Casey looks like hipster Mel Kipper Jr.
I used to have the hair for it. It's gone now.
Who's Mel Kipper Jr.? Why am I just
Mel Kipper Jr.? He was he does the analysis for ESPN on draft days and all that jazz. Yeah, that guy. When my hair is poofy, it worked. But it's not anymore. It's gone.
That's all right.
It's dead now.
You look good in headbands. I like them.
That's all I do is headscarves, baby.
Hell yeah.
Way easier.
So if you think I went with Jason, who do you think I went with next?
All right. So if we banged out Jason, you got to go Friday the 13th. I'm assuming Freddy.
That's what I did. And before we get into these two, 46 and 45, what did you think of the Friday the 13th remake?
I enjoyed it. It was fine. I mean, it's not going to be Friday the 13th. You're not going to get that. They wanted to put Jason in the first one, which automatically negates the very first movie. So, yeah, it was fine. It was good kills. It was all right. It was a little annoying. So was Nightmare on Elm Street. It was annoying. I don't care for the remakes, but also more stories that are updated I'm hip to. So, cool.
I definitely care more about the Friday the 13th remake. I like rewatching it. I thought they did a good job.
Friday the 13th I can rewatch. Nightmare on Elm Street I watched maybe twice, and I went, okay.
This is my second viewing of it ever.
Oh, yeah. What you think?
It's so tough.
It's a hard one.
It's like being given an overdone steak
at a really fancy steakhouse, but it's only slightly overcooked.
No.
To be uncomfortable.
It's hockey pucked. But they also don't tell you that it's just one piece of fat.
And then it's like you're pouring A1 all over it. Maybe some Heinz 57 if it's really that bad, Waffle House style.
And you know what? It's like the old 96er from The Great Outdoors when he's eating that huge steak, and it's like by the end he's like, I don't want to do it anymore
because he's got to finish the salad and the baked potato and everything else.
I always wanted to be respectful of it because Jackie Earle Haley, but just nothing about this works. I like him as an actor, but nothing about this works.
No, it's same. I always want to see the good in it and want to be positive about things, but this one's hard. It's just not good. It's fine, but I mean, why do you have to keep remaking them? I understand it's neat to have them updated and stuff, but just continue the story. We don't need a restart, a reboot of it, especially Nightmare. We're good. We don't need to hear about all the kid raping again.
No, but here's the thing. I don't mind if they bring Freddy back. I like if they continue the storyline or they do, or they're like, all right, we're not going to remake it. We're going to like reboot it where it's something different.
So reboot it as Dream Warrior or something. Give me the Dream Warrior storyline again.
Yeah.
Because that was the best freaking storyline they've got. And you can just give outrageous kills. I don't need him walking through the halls of high school again, fucking shit up.
Tie it all in. Get it in there. It would be wonderful. Jason says, yeah, I had the same reaction when I hear about the Turtles, Casey. It is. It's shocking, but it was. Yeah. That second one definitely was taken over by studios because they weren't even allowed to use their weapons.
Really?
Yeah. That's the like if you watch the second one, they never used their weapons. The only time you see fun. No. And I have all of the Funko Pops from all the different movies. And in the first movie Funkos, they all have their weapons in hand. And in the second one, they don't. They don't have any.
That's a bummer. I never noticed it. I was too busy with Ninja Rap.
The only time they use their weapons is when Leonardo throws them into the ceiling and then jumps up and like swing kicks.
Right. Yeah.
I like Friday the 13th. I dislike Nightmare. My issue was mainly story. I thought the casting of Freddy was okay. Better makeup would have helped too.
Well, but it was like CGI face. Yeah, they did CGI face and made it awful.
And Chris says he loves Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
Big fan.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I know you hate it, buddy. We were talking about it because he was and Chris, big supporter with the daily videos. He comments along, so I appreciate him for that. And he's given me some good recommendations as well. Awesome. I think one of them's either on this list or, I mean, there's a lot because there's a couple coming up too that he gave me. So the Fog remake, which I went.
Okay, all right.
I like this one.
It's not bad. It's boring.
Is it boring? Because the first one, the original Fog, I love it. I can watch it over and over again.
I could watch it a couple times.
I thought they kind of improved upon the story. They didn't get the same feel that Carpenter got in the movie for like the creepiness.
Right.
But I thought it was still pretty good. There's some jump scares. The creepiness was still all right. And I liked it. But I thought the story was better done. They actually like showed you like flashbacks and stuff. I thought that was kind of cool.
I'll agree. That was good that they did that. My thing here is very much like the Amityville Horror. When you take away the creepiness factor, you are changing what the movie wants to be. So the Fog kind of changed what the Carpenter-esque style was going to be. Amityville was able to play it in a way where it worked. Now, part of that also is because you have Ryan Reynolds who's losing his mind, and you're like, but he's the funny, awesome guy. You don't want to see that. It's weird. You're more engaged and with him for the character. The Fog didn't have that. I never got attached to someone. I never felt like, oh, they did improve upon story, but I wanted my creepy movie. So they gave me more history, but took away the creepiness, which is what I love about that movie. So, yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely worth checking out. Like Jason says, he's going to add it to his list this month. But yeah, and you should. I think you should definitely check it out. I love the Amityville remake.
Yeah, but
I did too, but I agree with Casey in that where it is Ryan Reynolds is tough, and I realized for him that was like his way of like getting more into something different than what he was. And I'm so glad he's at where he is now.
Absolutely. And it worked. It worked because you're engaged with him. You're worried about him. He's a different character altogether. So you're like, who the fuck is this guy? And what is he doing? You believe in him more. So you don't have to be as creepy. You can get away with jump scares because you're engaged with the actual falling apart of his character of George.
Yeah, and I should probably add that to this list because that's a good movie. I like that.
You should. It's great, man. The jump scares are fantastic. They still jack me up. They only added like 3 in there, but man, they are creepy.
So I went with another remake to kind of round things out.
Okay.
And that was the 2013 Evil Dead.
All right.
Probably the best remake of an old school horror film.
Really?
Yeah, it was well done, man. It's a well done.
It is a well done movie, but we also have Evil Dead 1, which was then remade in Evil Dead 2.
Sure. But that was because they were screwing the director over.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I love this one. I really enjoyed this remake. They did a good job.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic, and that's the thing with the Evil Dead. I don't mind if you remake it or you take it in a different place. I have my Ash. Like they did 3 movies with them. I know this one's connected to the universe. I do, but they did 3 movies with them, and I got an epic kick-ass TV show, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah, true. And Raimi gets his love, man. He's been doing great.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I just want to keep hearing. So yeah, it was, and this one was actually really scary. I will give you that. This one was much scarier. So yeah, they did that well. The horror ramped up.
100% the best and one of the best horror films in general. Yeah, it is a fantastic one. And there's really no comparison to the originals.
There's no.
Because the originals were great and scary and funny and all those. Well, the second one became a little funnier. Like the first one, I think people want to remember it as funny.
It was not funny.
It was not as fun. It's pretty.
There were goofy moments, but I mean, tree rape.
Yeah. There's a lot in there that's just like heartbreaking. And this movie was more in the vein of that first one.
Yeah.
It says it terrifies me every time I watch it. Yeah, it's tough. This is my second viewing.
Yeah.
In 10 years. So
I kind of want to rewatch that now.
You should. The TV show was awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was. Ash vs. Evil Dead's amazing.
So what do you think I went with next after watching Evil Dead?
Let's see. What connection could you possibly have? You're still on a roll with remakes? Are we still remaking?
No, no more remakes.
Oh, okay. So from that, Drag Me to Hell.
The Evil Dead.
Classic.
Went back in time and I watched the first one and it holds up. It's such a good movie.
It's a great movie.
I love the Evil Dead. It's fantastic. And because I watched it, I was like, you know what? There's nothing I want to watch more than the Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 Dead by Dawn.
Because it's amazing.
It's so good. They're so good back to back. Even though they change up the story a little bit, and it is a minuscule amount. Because they really keep to the vein of it. They just cut some characters out.
Yeah, that's all they did. And they did a great job with it. It's terrifying. It's everything it needs to be. Evil Dead 2 leads to the goofiness of Ash. The first one showed a person breaking down and people thought it was funny. So in Evil Dead 2, they just said, be funny more. So it's kind of ridiculous that that's how that character was born. But I mean, it plays perfectly. And then, of course, from that, we get one of the greatest movies of all time, Army of Darkness.
Well, I didn't watch that.
But you should. Because after Evil Dead 2, we get Ash going back in time in one of the greatest movies ever.
The Evil Dead, such a classic, must watch every year. I do agree.
Yes, sir.
I'm just kidding with you. Of course, I went with Army of Darkness at number 40.
Yes. You're goddamn right you did.
There was no way I wasn't going to.
How could you not? I don't know if we'd be friends, honestly, if you really didn't. Like, I was sitting here for a moment, like, trying to hold that back. Like, okay, fine. What the fuck did you go with? But no, we're good. Army of Darkness.
Yeah, so I had to go with Army of Darkness. It's such a great follow-up to all the stuff that's happened. Chris, what's going on, man? Welcome.
What's up, buddy?
I love them all. Part 1 tried to be serious. Part 2, let's make it super campy. Part 3 is by far the best and most funny fave of the 3.
Agreed.
It's they're all just great.
3 officially was allowed to jump the shark,
So I went with a movie that was brand new.
Okay, what was your connection?
I forgot. I have to go back and rewatch some of these daily videos. There was a good connection too. I just can't remember what it was.
Like the cinematographer or something fancy?
No, I tried with all that and it just wasn't working. There was, I forget, it might even been a filming location or something. I have to go back and double check and see what it was. But it was Don't Worry, Darling.
Okay, that's very new.
It was coming out like that day. So I was like, I want to make this 39, and I forget what my connection was, but I do keep the connection going. It might be flimsy. It's
thin. It's a little thin. Someone had to
sometimes
stretch it out there, but you're cool.
Trying to connect 95 horror movies is tough. All right. A lot of the next 30 are going to be, it's Halloween.
Oh my goodness.
I got to check out Don't Worry, Darling. I did a full review, so everybody can go check it out there. But I did like this movie. It's well done. The horror aspects of it are very well done. It has its hands in, I would say, horror, thriller, and some sci-fi elements.
Okay, interesting.
Which I dig, and I think you'd actually really like it. But the third act does fall apart a little bit. Actually, a lot of people will tell you it falls apart a lot of bit, but I still liked what they did in the third act. It's just they left you with a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah, fair enough.
And Harry Styles spit on Captain Kirk, and he can go F himself.
But did he? I mean, this is the whole thing? I don't even know. Did he?
He did.
Are we sure?
Let's watch the video. Let's get to it.
I have no room to talk because I actually really enjoyed that whole back and forth that was going on with all that Hollywood gossip between each other.
I turned the controversy off when I went to see this because I was like, I've seen it all the controversy, but I'm like, I just want to go see this and look at it as a movie. And then Jace Taylor says he liked it quite a bit and he agrees with the third act. Have you checked out The Ritual or The Apostle yet? Yes, I have seen both of those. They haven't been on the list, and they may. It really comes down to where I go with it, and how far
work out The Gift, then somehow work that into The Ritual, which then works into what was that crappy crazy movie with Hilary Swank? The one where she
The Reaping or something like that.
The Reaping, yeah, The Reaping. That was fantastic.
The problem is that I have to watch some new stuff that comes out, and I really need to connect it. Like the new Halloween Ends is coming out and other things. There's a lot of stuff coming out.
Hey, are we going to that, by the way?
If by going to that, you mean watching it on Peacock? Yes. I love theaters, but I got enough theaters I got to go to.
Fair enough.
Chris says, I'm waiting for you to work Halloween Ends into this list. It's going to be on the opening day. I will work it in this list. I'm already plotting how to get there, but I will get there. And because I have to fasten other new stuff that's coming out to it as well.
That's fair. So where'd you go from 39? What was our link to the next?
So the link to this was that it was another new movie I hadn't seen that just came out the same day.
That is okay. Squeaker.
So I watched it the next day, and it was on Shudder. It is on Shudder. You can go watch it. It's called Raven's Hollow.
Ooh, well, that looks neat.
It looks neat. There's a full review up on it.
I think that speaks volumes.
It might be worth a watch, but it's so basically it's about a young Edgar Allan Poe. When he was in West Point, he and some cadets stumble upon a dead body. They bring it to this town called Raven's Hollow, and then it's very heavy-handed in Edgar Allan Poe lore for the rest of the time. It's the best rundown I can give you on that one.
Fair enough. Which, yeah, Chris is saying now worth the watch, and I mean I could get that. I'm a Poe fanatic though, so I'll probably watch it and not like it, but tell everyone I enjoy it in my salons.
Well, then you'll really like number 37.
Ooh, where did we go?
The Pit and the Pendulum, which is one of my favorites.
Yes. Awesome movie, man. Vincent Price at his best.
I love this movie, man. I love when he did all of the Poe movies he did for Roger Corman. just really, really well done stories, and I really like them. And Pit and the Pendulum is probably, you're right, probably the best out of all of them.
I'd agree. I think they did that so well. Telltale Heart's really good, but Pit and the Pendulum's like it doesn't get on enough lists. It doesn't get enough love. These Corman movies were fantastic. So
Chris says you can't go wrong with Poe. Clearly, you haven't seen The Raven or Raven's Hollow.
Hey, The Raven is fine. It's just fine. Leave it alone. Leave John Cusack alone. He did just fine.
All right, I'm gonna move on. George G3 says, "Hey guys,
what's up, G3?
How you doing, buddy?" All right. So, which direction do you think I would take it at number 37? We just watched Pit and the Pendulum. It's coming off of Poe, a Poe connection. Where do you think I went next?
A Price connection with House on Haunted Hill.
Close.
Okay.
A Price connection. The Last Man on Earth.
Oh,
I love this movie. It's the first adaptation of the Omega Man. It's I Am Legend. Omega Man is another adaptation of I Am Legend,
which I love. Omega Man, it's terrible.
Yeah. I stuck with Price. I went with it. I saw the Simpsons Raven episode. Did that count? That's an epic one.
That's a great one.
A great choice. 100%. You cannot go wrong with that one. But yeah, so number 36, I stuck with Price. I love this movie. I absolutely love this movie. I watch it quite often, actually. And this is the first time this year, but yeah, I even went out and bought, I still might have it. I had like an old beater t-shirt I bought when I was in Los Angeles of this poster on it.
That's pretty awesome. So do you feel like the Last Man on Earth, Mick? Is that why you watch this?
I did then.
That's fair.
And now I have too many great people in a great community of the Snob Nation.
Exactly. Boom. You no longer are. That's why you haven't watched it in so long. You haven't been compelled.
So the next movie was a Vincent Price connection as well, and it was also a recommendation from Chris Harris. Vincent Price, one of the greatest. His works are so iconic.
Yeah,
absolutely,
they're amazing. And I love him.
You're absolutely right, and I stuck with him a little bit. And actually, I revisit him. I stuck with him, and yesterday's movie was a revisit to Price. So, but we'll get there because that's 31. That's not on this list. You can go check out my dailies for that one. And from Chris came House on Haunted Hill, 1959.
There it is.
At 35.
Boom. One of the best.
It is. It is such a great movie. It's so well done.
Mm-hmm.
The effects are fantastic for it. You know, of course, the movie's dated. It was in 1959, but it's like I think it's held in regard of like what the thing was and stuff like the practical effects really made it fun and made it wild.
They did. I mean, that skeleton coming out of the acid bath still messes with me, you know, and I have the memory of watching that with my grandma on a Halloween night. Like, it was pretty rad. It was scary and it was cool. And people still talk about that. I mean, there's what was the history of horror that what's his nuts? Eli Roth did.
Mm-hmm.
And that they brought that up in conversation about that scene, about that skeleton. It does age. I mean, absolutely, Chris. It aged very well. It's a gilded age. You can watch that comfortably and know, all right, I'm in for a good movie.
Yeah, and I completely agree. It ages fantastically, and that mixed with like A Night of the Living Dead, I put them on the same level.
I agree with that.
They just aged right. For horror.
Right up there with They Live. All of them just fit together.
And as good as this one is for 34, I had to go with the remake.
Awesome. I'm so happy you did this because this is one of those awful great remakes.
I don't think it's awful. I really enjoy this movie.
I enjoy it as well, but for that time period, it's like it's teleportation. It's time travel for me. I legitimately, you can go back to that day and be like, I remember watching this, what I looked like, what I was wearing, like it's wild. So I love it, but it's terrible.
Yeah. I don't know. I might disagree with you. I still don't think it's terrible, especially with everything we've seen come out in the 90s. I mean, especially with Teaching Mrs. Tingle.
Okay, that was just bad. That was Williamson. That's what happens when you give a writer the ability to direct and his entire vision. It was too much.
I think Chris and you are on the same level here with it's an enjoyable but a C movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
I disagree.
I'm not saying it's bad. When I say it's terrible, I use that in the phrase of it's not a bad movie.
Yeah, it's like a scene movie. Yeah,
but it's like urban legend. I put it on par there.
Yeah, but I would put them in at least the B range. I've seen some B's and C's that were bad.
They float, man. I don't know. It must be opinion. I still hold it in a C. House on Haunted Hill never really went far for me. It's like Ghost Ship.
See, no. Now, Ghost Ship I'll put on a different level. It has a very cool opening scene, and that's about it.
And that's what this one has. This one is about an average movie. It's okay.
I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree with all of you, because even Chriselle says I liked it a lot until the final reveal of the techno ghost blob. I didn't mind it. It's a ghost, and it's a dark spirit that's collecting all of the ghosts in the house. I love that. I thought that was really cool. Mm-hmm. It's better than, and that's true.
Okay. It is better than House of Wax, absolutely. But I will watch House of Wax more because I want to see Paris Hilton die a lot.
Yeah, see, I don't mind Paris Hilton, so I don't care. I think House on Haunted Hill remake, like Paris Hilton says, that's hot. So
it just hurts so much. So what was your connection to 33, Mick?
That's a good question. I forgot what my connection was to it.
You got so excited from 35 to 34, and now it's like shit.
You got me so excited. You know what? Here's the thing. I wanted to watch.
Was it Taye Diggs?
No, I don't think there is any connection. I can't remember there is a connection. I know there is because I do the daily videos. I just can't. It must have been a really flimsy one. It had to have been a really flimsy one. Good point. Damn, Case, that's dark.
Can be on occasion.
That's fair.
Known to happen.
So because the sequel is coming out, I watched Hocus Pocus at 33.
I have no idea how you put those two together. I'm really trying.
I can't remember.
I'm trying really hard. Was Kenny Ortega involved? Because he was the director of Hocus Pocus. Did he do House on Haunted Hill? Which, if he did, would really open my eyes to a lot of things. I think I might re-look. I might rewatch House on Haunted Hill, knowing Kenny Ortega directed it.
For the life of me, have no idea how I connected these. I know
it's pretty incredible. Was Bette Midler in it?
No. I'll tell you what. Hold on. I'm going to take it to the footage. Let's see what we got here. I don't care what anybody thinks.
Let's do it. Nah, let's do it.
Let's do
Take it to the cameras.
So number 33. Okay. Hold on. The 90s.
Okay.
I stayed in the 90s. That's what it was. That was my connection. I told you, some of them are loose, man. Come on.
So a decade. It was just in the same decade. So that works. Why not?
You know what? Do you know how many people, 80s cucks are out there right now saying, I'm watching 80s and nothing else to the 31 days? And that's fine.
Like Chopping Mall?
Fine. I respect it. That's fine. You can love that. But why can't I use the 90s as a connection?
No, the 90s should totally be a thing. Let's go full 90s cuck.
I should just let Chris knows. Chris watches the videos, so I got, he's the man.
Dude, Hocus Pocus is amazing. It's a great
movie. Really is. You know what pisses me off? We're like 40 minutes in and we're at the last one, and it takes me longer to make these graphics than it does to actually talk about, because clearly at 33, if I'm watching Hocus Pocus, and this is a good lead into Halloween.
Yes. No, I'm excited because now we get into the official month. This is it. This is cracking in.
No. Well, no. The next one.
This is knocking on the door. Then we're cracking in. Yeah.
Yes, and I went with Hocus Pocus too.
Fantastic choice.
Again, another one we did a full review on Monday, so it's up on the YouTube channel if you want to check that out. But it's I thought it was a good way to walk into Halloween, walk into the 31.
Absolutely. Those are two movies that my daughter and I enjoy thoroughly. That will be, I'm very excited to watch Hocus Pocus 2 with her. It's going to be awesome. She's a huge Hocus Pocus fan, so it's going to be, that's our Halloween now. It's nice being able to get at least some horror that she's into. Otherwise, she's very, she's 9. I'm not trying to show her critters yet. There's
Listen, now is the time, and I tell everybody this.
Mhm.
You watch movies on regular TV, like AMC, stuff like that. And that's a good introduction because they don't show anything.
Right.
You know, so I think that's a good time for like older kids. Like Tommy gets into them that way. Jack can see scenes.
Yeah.
Like we watched the opening scene of Halloween tonight, and he was like, "It's a kid? I didn't know he was a kid." And I'm like, "There's more to it, but you're not getting any more right now because they didn't show like the nudity or anything, and they didn't."
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, I'll let him watch the TV version. But
see, in the edited versions, the TV versions are that you got to remember that was kind of the way I was introduced to a lot of them. So then, you know, in my older years, being like, this was the movie. I missed half of this movie.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Night of the Comet did that. There's a lot of them. A lot of them are like that. Chopping Mall, which I rewatched today.
You've said Chopping Mall 4 times now.
Because it is honestly so great.
We're getting into yours next. Because you started at 31.
Yep.
So I'm going to start with you. And because I'm not going into my 31 or 30 tonight because we're going to do the list.
Yep.
And when we get to the next list, we're going to recap. But we're going to do I want to hear yours. But I will tell you, my 31 and 30 both connect to Hocus Pocus well. They're both witch movies.
Okay.
And one's based on Poe, which is kind of funny.
Oh, that's dope. That wasn't the one with Anya Taylor-Joy, was it?
Maybe. That's not the one that connects. That's not the
there's
one in between that one and Hocus Pocus.
Okay. Fair enough. I'm excited to see where it goes.
The chicken says, as we get into the last couple of minutes, no, this goes all night long. No,
we're just going to we're going to start a whole new list.
Yeah. What are we going to watch? I came out of the shadows. We appreciate you, buddy. Yeah. And Chris says, I give her some Stephen King, not a lot of gore.
I agree. Yeah. That's a good way to go about it. It was a good way I got introduced was like, I think I read Misery at like 11 or 12. So it's a perfect.
Do not show her Misery.
What?
Do not show her Misery.
I'm just trying to put realistic relationship goals in front of her.
I'm so scared right now.
Don't worry. That won't happen.
I know.
Have no fear. That was a joke.
I know, buddy. I'm just messing with you. So what was your 31?
My 31 was Chopping Mall. That's not even a joke.
You watched it today or yesterday?
I watched that today, and then I was actually going through and watching my 30th right now.
Oh, okay. What are you watching now?
Right now, hold on. I got to remember what it is. So Joe Bob has been taking me through these. I've been watching what he has. Okay. And I have them all here at my hands. What was it? Blood-Sucking Freaks?
Blood-Sucking Bastards?
Blood-Sucking Freaks.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
God, that's such a damaged movie.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. Sounds terrible. It seems awful.
It is hard.
Yeah. Well, it's one that I haven't ever actually made it through yet.
I think you're going to have to
realize I've watched parts of it, but I've never seen this movie nut to butt the whole way through, and I'm not excited to watch it. Like just listening to the Joe Bob part is the only way I'm able to get through this. It's going to be another beer, and I'll probably be asleep in an hour crying. So
I don't doubt that. That's a hard movie to watch. It's like I like even when he showed it, I was like, I don't know if I can watch this again.
Yeah. So my 31 days are going to be pretty easy because I'm just connecting Joe Bob. I'm just letting him walk me through horror this year. Or this is one of the few Octobers I get to do that. So I'm going to do it.
I'm interested to see where you go with it, though. Because you can go to old, you can go to new, like see where it goes.
And I'll be throwing some new movies. We'll both, I think Halloween Ends, we're going to have to link ourselves there and see how that goes.
Yeah, because we're both doing that. So it's going to be fun. All right, guys. So remember, it's Snobtober right now. This is our anniversary month. You know, it's 3 years of the Scene Snobs since the podcast launched. So, let me halt it right here real quick and let's talk about this for a second, because it's actually funny that we're talking about countdowns to movies and watching movies every day. So a lot of people don't know this, but the Scene Snobs started out in 2013, January 1st, 2013.
Yeah.
I had just left Mary Likes Movies, and I wanted to kind of start reviewing movies on my own. I was working for New Jersey Newsroom at the time, writing entertainment columns for them. And I wanted to write my own, but I wanted to get back to like my film school days where I would watch different movies that I had never seen before. Right. So January 2013, Casey and I had already known each other. Casey helped get me like falling in love with the podcasting side of things, because when I was a filmmaker, he had me on a show a couple of times.
Absolutely did. Good old off-topic radio.
Yep. That a very cool setup too on that one. So we would. So I kind of fell in love with that, and I worked for Mary Likes Movies for a little while, and then so before it was the Scene Snobs, it was Movies 365, and that whole premise was I was going to watch a movie a day for a year, and the only thing was it was a movie that I never seen before each day.
And wasn't that part of? But I can't remember, when did you do the Oscars? Every Oscar winner you never watched. Was that like the following year?
It was in 2011. I did that.
Okay.
I started that with a friend of mine who did it as well. Oh no, it was it was. Or maybe it was, no, it was 2011. It was 2011. Okay, sorry, I started thinking a little bit, but I started that in December of 2010.
Okay,
and then because the Oscars were February of 2011. And we watched every single Best Picture winner.
That was what it was. Yeah.
And because I loved that experience of doing it, that
especially in 99, you loved that one, didn't you? Or was it 98 or 97?
Are you talking about The English Patient? Hated that movie.
Now that's real horror right there.
So boring. So, it is a beautiful movie though. So I watched all those movies and such, and kind of went through them, and so it led me to 2013, where I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch a movie I'd never seen before and write a review for it on Facebook every day. And I did that, and they're still up there on the Facebook page for the Scene Snobs.
Yep.
If you go all the way back,
it's a lot of scrolling. It's a lot of scrolling.
It's 80. I think I made it to either 87 or 88 days of watching something new every day. And I was so bummed at myself that I didn't make it, because then like a few months later I moved to Virginia, and then we started Mystery Elephant.
Yep.
So, and that ran for 6 years. So like the Scene Snobs was really only about me every once in a while watching a new movie and writing about it. And that's what it was for a while. And then after Mystery Elephant left, I was like, all right, I'm taking the Scene Snobs, I'm going to turn it into a podcast. Finally. So that's why if anybody is like following us on Facebook, it will pop up like January 1st, 2013 is the Scene Snobs anniversary. And it is, but the podcast started on October 6th, 2019.
Yes, it did.
Now, Casey can attest to this. We ended Mystery Elephant in 2018.
Yeah.
And I immediately got to work on planning everything. So it didn't launch till 2019, but Casey knows I had been working on it and planning it and trying to get it all together.
Oh, it was in the background. It had been worked on for some time. Yeah.
I was not launching until I knew it was ready. So we got to that, and then we launched October 6th, 2019. So this week, October 6th, is our 3-year anniversary.
Yes, it is.
And we of course appreciate you guys, and we love you. And so October has become Snobtober over the years, where we celebrate because we love the horror movies, we love Halloween, and it's our anniversary week, our anniversary month. So
yeah, we love to celebrate. This is the best time to celebrate. Best time for us to get started. Best time for us to do our thing. We love horror movies. We love hanging out with the horror community. So we like to horror it up. Here is Snobtober.
And horror it up.
All right. Now, Chris, you're right. I will do better. I absolutely will. You're right.
Wait,
I can't just let
me?
Joe Bob. No, better than can't just let Joe Bob guide my whole experience for this 31 days. I will be doing some independent movies that are some of my favorites that I've picked up over the last couple of years. So I will be throwing those in there as well.
And like you said, he's going to watch Halloween Ends, and I'm sure there's some other ones that will pop up.
Oh, yeah.
So
I'll have a couple remakes. I mean, I didn't see the Child's Play remake, the movie.
I would like to see what you thought of that.
So I will have to sit down and finally do that one.
So we're doing these recaps, and it's going to be fun because now Casey can start recapping his on the next one, and as we go, and we'll go from there. But if you guys want to go back and check out the originals, 95 through 75 is still up on our YouTube channel. 74 through 50, of course, is up there as well. Guys, we have a new episode of the Scene Snobs Podcast from Tuesday night. Truish Crime. We had some fun with that one, so go check that out. We, of course, have a lot of reviews this week. We have The Monsters, Hocus Pocus 2, The Greatest Beer Run Ever, Intergalactic, which I watched this weekend, and I definitely highly recommend.
Nice. I'm going to have to check it out.
We have the first episode of Does It Suck, our new show that is out now. You can go check it out. We have our second episode coming out very soon. And this, because we've reached 3 years, we're going to have a new show.
Oh, yeah.
It's a morning drive show on Fridays, the Scene Snobs Morning Drive live show. It's 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. You can listen to us while you're at work or on your drive to work or whatever else. But yeah, just join us and have a good time. But until then, I want to say thank you to our patrons. You guys support us in amazing ways and help us keep the lights on, help us keep doing the thing that we love doing. This is our passion for us. This isn't something that's fly by night. We've been doing it and trying to perfect it for years. So Tim, Paul, Stacy, Matt, Aaron, Chris S, Chris H.
We appreciate you all. Thank you, Dan, John B, Ron, Jason, AJ, Radar, and John W.
If you guys want to join, we have 3 tiers available at patreon.com/thescenesnobs.
And make sure to join us on the Snobs Nation Discord, where all the kids who are hip to do something.
Hang out.
Hip to dip.
If you like hanging out in the video stores back in the day, talking movies.
Yeah, there you go. This is the place to be with lots of different ideas, lots of different channels, lots of different people, some fantastic admins, and, the Snobs Nation. Who doesn't love hanging out with us? So join us on Discord.
And make sure to like this video if you're on the Scene Snobs channel, and make sure to subscribe to us because we have great shows like the Scene Snobs Podcast live every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern and available on all podcast platforms after. Plot Roast, which is our Patreon show that gives, where our patrons give us movies to watch. Our next episode is Space Hunter, The Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. Scene Snobs Review. Geek Fest Live, Real Combat Season 2 is coming back, and we have, of course, the live drive show, and we have Does It Suck? So we have more to come.
And merch. You should definitely get some of our stuff and wear it because you want to represent the Scene Snobs, whether it be hoodies, t-shirts, long sleeve shirts. It is fall. It's time to bundle up and add those layers. So pop on over to the merch store, which you can find through the link tree.
And make sure to follow us on all social media because we have stuff going on. We have content every day. We'd love for you to check it out and join in with us. We're at the Scene Snobs pretty much everywhere except for TikTok because they won't let me change it. And then I just want to say thank you again. You guys are truly amazing. We had a great time with you. And thank you for joining in on these recaps. Stay spooky. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. Casey, take it away.
Until we recap the next round, make sure to take care of yourself, be kind to each other.
All right. And stay geeky. I don't know what I've been told, but check out the Scene Snobs.
You should go there now. You want to check out the Scene Snobs. Yes, it would be an excellent idea to go to thescenesnobs.com.
And tell your friends.
Let everyone know to go to the Scene Snobs.